Hey guys, welcome to episode number 3 of this IELTS essay writing series. In this episode, we're going to be looking at 4 things. The first one, expressions for introducing a common view. Number 2, reporting verbs that you can use. Number 3, expressions to emphasize the main argument. And 4, expressions for agreeing and disagreeing. Exercise is the most important factor in achieving a healthy lifestyle. Discuss both sides. We are going to go straight for the main body paragraph A, which considers that exercise is the most important factor. So it agrees with this statement. It is side A. And as I outlined in the introduction, guys, we are going to look at expressions that introduce the common view, reporting verbs that explain the view held, and also expressions which emphasize the main argument. And they can be found within sentence number 2 of the main body paragraph, which offers an explanation of the common view outlined in sentence 1. Then, in sentences 3 and 4, your personal opinion of the idea discussed in sentences 1 and 2. So we are going to look at some expressions where you can agree or disagree to varying extents with the view outlined in sentence 1. Let's start with some expressions to introduce the common view. Now I'm going to break this one up into active and passive voices, because it's good to show a variety when you are in any essay. The first expression that you can use here: many people argue. In the passive form, that would be it is commonly argued. Number 2, many people hold the view that. In the passive, that would look like X is commonly viewed to be. Expression number 3, you can vary the subject here. You can say people, experts, be more specific, perhaps health experts, perhaps health analysts, proponents of this school, or advocates of this perspective. Then you need your verb, consider. In the passive voice, we can change that to it is widely considered. In each of these cases, in the passive voice, the subject is the activity or the issue. So you can be specific with that issue depending on what the topic is of the question. So in this case, perhaps it would be exercise is widely considered. And the final one that we're going to look at, many people think. And that can be changed to it is often thought. Let's complete the sentence. It is commonly argued that exercise is the most fundamental and significant component of a healthy lifestyle. Let's move on to the next expressions. Sentence 2, our explanation of the main view. We could use reporting verbs to do this. And again, I'm going to refer to the sentence that we used in the essay, which said, proponents of exercise cite. Instead of cite, we can use some other options. Argue, suppose, believe, consider, reason, and contend. Let's use one of these to complete the sentence. We could say, proponents of this school cite that exercise is essential for our physical, mental, and social health. And we could substitute any number of these reporting verbs instead of cite. Emphasizing the main argument. We can use a number of expressions to achieve this. They include, in particular, especially, most significantly, above all, particularly, most of all, and most notably. And we can use these expressions with either the gerund or the preposition. Okay, people, we have brought down the first explanation sentence that we wrote earlier. Proponents of this school cite that exercise is essential for our physical, mental, and social health. We are now going to use one of the emphasizing expressions followed by a preposition, and then the emphasizing expression followed by the gerund in order to further highlight this point. So let's try it with the preposition first. Especially in its capacity to improve the functioning of our organs, or improve the functioning of our body systems. We can see especially is our emphasizing expression, and we have followed that with a preposition, which is in. Next one, we can use the emphasizing expression followed by a gerund, especially enhancing the functioning of our body systems. Okay, let's move on to agreeing and disagreeing. What can we do for that? Depends on your position in relation to the side of the argument being discussed. If you strongly agree with a position, you can use some of these expressions. This essay suggests that this view is entirely valid, plus your own explanation. Another option, this perspective or suggestion, argument, position seems entirely accurate, legitimate, valid, relevant, credible. If you sit in the middle, so perhaps you partly agree, again, you could use something similar to this first sentence here, but you'd structure it slightly differently. You could say, this perspective is undoubtedly valid, and you could give a brief explanation as to why. Full stop. However, this essay suggests, and you offer maybe an alternative perspective at that. Another option for partly agreeing, whilst this view is entirely valid, this essay suggests. So you're saying what you said in the previous sentence with however, but in one sentence. You're not starting a new sentence. It would be the same with although. Another option would be with despite. You can use here despite the fact plus clause, or despite plus gerund. So the first one, guys, despite the fact exercise serves many useful purposes, other health considerations are equally valid. Despite being an essential component of good health, this essay believes exercise to be only a part of a combination of equal factors. So the third one is if we completely disagree. We give our position by saying this essay completely or entirely rejects this assertion or this position, standpoint, and give explanation. Or this essay holds a contrary belief to this position. Or finally, guys, to completely disagree, we could say this essay strongly opposes this position, or this essay offers an entirely different position. Okay guys, so to recap, we looked at expressions to introduce the common view in sentence 1 using both the active and the passive voice. Before moving on to talk about how we would explain that view using reporting verbs, and also expressions to emphasize the main argument of a particular school using either the preposition or the gerund, the ing verb afterwards. And finally, we looked at how we would deliver our opinion through different expressions of agreeing and disagreeing, and how those structures would look out on the page between strongly agree, partly agree, and completely disagree. Now it's your turn. So people, I want you to experiment with some of these expressions that we have discussed in the first part of the video. I'm going to give you 4 options of 4 discuss both sides questions. You pick which one you want to have a go at, and you can practice a main body paragraph. Okay, so here are the options. So these are the 4 options here. And I have devised a little template that you can follow. Write the essay title, introduce one of the sides of the argument. You choose which one, could be A or B. Introduce that opinion using some of the expressions we were looking at before. Things like many people argue, it is commonly argued. Give an explanation of that opinion using the reporting verbs that we looked at, as well as the emphasizing expressions for the main point. And finally, give your opinion using the agree-disagree structures that we looked at for strongly agree, partly agree, or strongly disagree. Okay guys, I strongly encourage you to be creative and practice some of these expressions in your own writing using those essay questions that I showed you on the previous slide. And you can also tag at Frankie Says IELTS and post a picture of some of your ideas, and I can repost it as example templates for you guys. Remember that practice for this kind of exam or for any essay is really important, so you get the structures ingrained and it becomes more naturally for you when you're in that pressurized exam situation. Okay everyone, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and I hope to catch you for the next video. Thank you.